Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today guys, I'm going to be talking about Avatar: Last Airbender, as you can clearly see. So, if you don't want to hear about this, you can close the video. I won't be mad or anything. I don't really care about the views on my channel. I'll just be posting about whatever I want. And clearly, I want to not talk about total drama for once. I want to talk about the Avatar: Last Airbender, and I'm gonna be doing a character trailers. This is my fourth take of this fucking video, and I am not strict at all about what I post on YouTube, so you could tell those four takes must have been bad. So here we go. Here's self-explanatory. The higher you are, so for example, these two, I have no idea what they are. So they are in the decent tier. They were in one episode for like a few seconds each, and maybe they were in the. Oh, by the way, this is spoilers for Avatar. Maybe I'll be talking about the comics a little bit, and I will also be talking about the Legend of Korra. Just a few scenes. I haven't read the comics all that much. I just know about what happens in some of them, and I haven't watched the Legend of Korra, but I have seen a few scenes that I will reference on YouTube that I will reference in here. So if you want to get spoiled on any of that, you can click off. By the way, so yeah. So these two, decent. Like I said, I don't know anything about them. They just came to Aang one episode, one of the final episodes of the series, and and they pretty much just told him the same stuff that Roku and Kyoshi told him. Pretty much said like, "Oh, you might have to kill Roku," just in like a more deep way, you could say. But yeah, Chief. Then we have Chief Hyoka, Hako. I don't know how to, I kept trying to say it. I searched up like 5 times how to say this dude's name, but every time I click record, I forget how to say it. So he's good though. He's a bit bland. He's a bit bland, but like nothing too dreadful. He was good for what he was. Nothing too amazing. He kept me entertained while he was on screen, but actually I'm gonna put him like at the top of decent tier. He kept me entertained while he was on screen. Nothing too deep with him. He was pretty much there just because of Sokka and Katara. So there you go. Haru, good imprisoned episode, but after that he didn't really do much of anything. He came back for the invasion, but he really do anything much after that. He came back with the Duke. This is the Duke, and the wheelchair guy who's not on the list. The wheelchair guy probably would have been on the good, like in the end of the good tier, if you really want to know. But Haru, they came back from the invasion. I thought he was going to do much more, and they didn't. They didn't show him at all after the invasion, pretty much. And even before the invasion, not the imprisoned episode. If you're watching for the first time and you don't know what happened, you would expect that Haru would have a much bigger role in the series. But that just didn't happen. I'm not gonna say that's a bad thing because I do think Toph is way better in his role than what it's Toph or Toph. I think it's Toph. It doesn't matter. I think Toph is way better in the role that Haru would have been in. So you take the good with the bad. I just think Haru maybe could have been more, but he didn't need to be more. Sokka's master, I forgot his name, but he's good. He's a member of the White Lotus. He was a good teacher for Sokka. That's pretty much all you can say about him. I don't know what happened to him in the comics. It was even referenced at all. But yeah, Gran, good. She was in there for a few episodes, the first few episodes. I don't know if she came back in the comics. I haven't seen that. Maybe she did. I wouldn't be shocked if she didn't. I would have been shocked if I wouldn't. Oh my god, I wouldn't have been shocked if she. Jesus Christ, what am I trying to say? I would have. I'm not gonna edit this out because you know, almost if you new here, I don't be doing edits like that. I just be saying what I want. I don't edit. Don't care. Um, I would have been shocked if she didn't show up in the comics. There you go. I said it. I finally fucking said it. But yeah, good character. There for only like the first 3 episodes, I think. Didn't really do much after that. Didn't show up again after that. I don't think. Maybe she showed up once or twice and I just forgot. But she was good in those like 3 episodes. So there you go. Commander Zhao. The first real sort of long takeout. Oh, by the way, I forgot about Haru. He was gonna. Actually, I'm not. It's long gone. I'm not even gonna say what I need to say about Haru. Um, Commander Zhao. Commander Zhao is probably right there behind Haru. Um, Commander Zhao. I say I forgot what I said. It's Zhao though. Um, with him, he kept me entertained every time he was on screen. So by that metric, he is a good villain, which is why he's in the good category. But he was written to be pretty stupid. Let's be honest here. I know why. because he was the first villain other than Zuko to be in the show, and Zuko was the main villain at the time, and so Zhao had to be sort of the villain to Zuko and Aang at the same time, which meant that he had to be kind of stupid. Well, not he didn't have to be stupid, considering there's Azula right here, and she wasn't stupid at all, and she was the villain to both of them. But it is what it is. It just is what it is. But yeah, he didn't have to be stupid. I take back what I said there, but he was written kind of stupidly. But like I said, I was entertained every time he was on screen. So that pretty much means that he wasn't so bad. I just wish that he could have been better. He's definitely the weakest villain, apart from maybe Ozai, and I'll get to him later. But I think he's probably the weakest though, just because he doesn't have the gravitas that Ozai has in a way. So yeah. Oh, and by the way, if you haven't seen what happened to him in the Legend of Korra, search up the clip. It is dark as fuck. It is dark. And after he gets taken by the spirit in the season 1 finale, and if you don't know what happened, like I said, search up the clip. It's search up Commander Zhao, Legend of Korra, and you'll see it come up on YouTube. And it is crazy what happens to this dude. And you assume he's dead, but he's not dead. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I did like every time he was on screen, so that's a good sign. Just wish he could have been written a little better. So Boomy, I'll actually put him below Kim Jong. The past 3 takes I did not do that, but for this take I will. The take of the video, I mean. Boomy, I didn't like him in the first episode. I didn't really care for him. In fact, I was sort of annoyed by him, if anything, in the first episode. He was in. It was a big. It must have been like the 6th episode, the 5th episode. I think it was the 5th episode, but it doesn't matter. Um, I was like I said, I was sort of annoyed with him, and then he came back in the Return of Omashu. I mean, Jesus Christ, he came back in the Return of Omashu, way better. Except that he wasn't really the highlight of that episode. It was Azula, her, Ty Lee, May, and then it was Aang in the Avatar group. So he wasn't really the highlight of the episode, but he was still way better. And then he comes back later on to be a part of the White Lotus, just like how he was. And that's all I have for right now for the White Lotus. Let me do this first. But yeah, Boomy, fine. I don't really care about him all that much, if I'm being honest with you. Didn't find him to be all that entertaining in his first episode, and that was his big episode, and I didn't really care for him in that episode. But like I said, he did get better later on, so he's not in the decent category just because of those episodes later on. But if someone said they loved him, I could see why. It's just he's not for me, I guess. John Jong, another member of the White Lotus. I'll put him below Sokka's master. Pretty much when he was in one episode, he didn't want to teach Aang firebending. Um, and then that's pretty much it. He didn't want to teach Aang firebending. And then Roku came to him and he's like, "You should teach Aang firebending." And then Aang hurt Katara, and then from there he left or whatever. Once the pirates came, I think. So yeah, I mean, I didn't like the episode, the deserter, but he was a highlight of that episode most definitely. So I don't hate his character. In fact, that's why he's in good tier. Of course, I don't hate his character, but yeah, there you go. That is why he is in here. Now, there's not much else to say about that. He's a part of the White Lotus. He he didn't really do much apart from attack stuff. So there you go. I want to get to Ozai later. I'll get to him after Ursa. I'll probably get to him after Sokka, just a separate. Okay, it doesn't matter. Momo, great tier. Actually, let me do Appa first. Appa, amazing tier. And what separates him from Momo is that episode's Appa's Lost Days. Great episode that centers around Appa. So pretty much that episode pretty much consists of Appa was captured by Sand People, to a, eventually sold to a circus where he was pretty much being abused, and then a kid who sounds and looks similar to Aang tells Appa to like run away. You can do this. You can escape, and then there's troubles along the way for Appa, and then he like has troubles of even surviving, and he's all roughed up, and then he runs into Suki, and then they have a good. You think Appa's going to be good because Suki's there, and by the way, Suki is great in this episode, even though she only appears for a few minutes, and then Suki runs into Azula, and that's how you know shit is fucked when Azula's there. So, and then Appa, who has like a fear of fire, Suki has to wave the fire to him to make sure he leaves, and it's really really sad. And then Suki isn't seen for a whole another season. So then back to Appa. Appa escapes. He returns back to the gang. Well, first Zuko frees Appa, all that shit, and then he he returns back to the Avatar gang and saves the day pretty much. And that's what separates him from Momo is that one episode, in my opinion, and that whole arc for Appa is what separates him from Momo. Because because outside of that episode, they're pretty much the same thing. They're comedy characters. Comedy characters done well, and they fit the show well. But like I said, that one episode really separates Appa from Momo, in my opinion. And with Momo, same thing I said about Appa. Good comedy character, except that he doesn't have the development Appa has because he didn't have Appa's Lost Days. And I think Appa's a little bit more developed in general with his fears of fire and tunnels. And Appa and Momo just doesn't really have that. But Momo's still a great character though. Does his job. Yasto, he's fine. I was entertained. I'm intrigued on what he was. I'm sure he has like a spin-off in the comics or something and I haven't read yet. But I am intrigued on what he has to offer as a character. But from the few scenes I saw him from, he seems like to be a really entertaining, wise mentor, but still understands what Aang needed to do childhood like activities. And but he had a few scenes but was killed off after Aang left. So yeah, there's not much to say about him. Then we have I think this dude I forgot his name, but I'm gonna put him in the decent category below the chief. Um, he was fine. I would put him in good, except for the fact that he had like he was sexist to Katara, and they solved that so weirdly because the way it was solved is that he liked Gran, and then he was like, and then he realized Katara was no, he realized that Katara was related to Gran, and that just cured him of sexism. That didn't really make sense for me. I didn't really like that all that much. But outside of that, he was fine. He was a part of the White Lotus. And after that weird sexism arc, he was pretty entertaining. Outside of that, I just didn't like it all that much. The Cabbage Man, I didn't care for his jokes all that much. If I'm being honest with you, they weren't bad or anything. I just didn't care for them all that much. I know some people really found them funny. I just really didn't, and that's fine. Humor is subjective. Hana, same thing. She is similar to where is he? Jet. She is similar to Jet. This guy right here. Jet. Here you go. In your face. Let me put him back. But what separates her from Jet is that Jet, while they're both tragic characters, Jet targeted a fire village, but his intentions were to kill bad Fire Nation people. The issue with that was there was innocent people there too. With Hana, she didn't give a fuck. She was blood bending with fucking anyone she saw, innocent or not, and then she captures them. That's what separates them. And plus Jet had more development. Jet had like I think 4 episodes or maybe 5, and Hana had 1. That's also a big factor. And Jet also had like a major death. He was pretty much the only major death in the entire show, so that he also has that going for him. But at the same time, Hana, pretty much a worse version of Jet, if I'm being honest with you. She wasn't written all that well. Has the same issues as Commander Zhao. Where is he? Not Commander Zhao, but Commander Ozai. Not Commander Ozai. Jesus Christ. Fire Lord Ozai. Pretty much the same issues as him, except that Ozai, I will get to later on, has a good factor to him that Hana simply doesn't. Let me actually do this. I want to get to Ozai now. Ozai. Okay. I'll put him here. Nah, I'll put him here. Yeah, I don't know. I'll keep him there for now. The thing is with Ozai, one, he was written sort of badly in my opinion. I did not like the fight he had with Aang. I found that to be very, very boring, especially when you compare that to Azula versus Zuko and Katara. That fight was way, 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 way better than Ozai versus Aang in my opinion. And then his ending was kind of dumb since they hadn't figured out a plot point of not to kill him. And then Plus, his design, in my opinion, is not really threatening at all. If you look at it, it's not really threatening, in my opinion. But the reason I'm shitting on him, but the reason why he's good and not in the decent or even disliked tier is the way he impacts. Hold on, Ursa, who is his wife, and how he impacts Zuko, and how he impacts Azula. And the way they build that up is such a big deal, and it makes it so threatening. Of course, the payoff didn't really. It wasn't really worth the payoff, in my opinion. Oh no, the payoff wasn't really fitting of such good development, in my opinion. That's a better way to phrase it. But at the same time, I can't ignore that. I can't ignore the fact that he had on Azula, Zuko, and Ursa, and how good he made their stories. Even if he was, and then the way they built him up, he was such an asshole, such an evil figure. And unlike Zuko and maybe even Azula, there's no chance for him to have redemption. You know that he is evil, 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 and that's what separates him from Zuko and Azula as villains. And like I said, Commander Zhao. The thing is with Commander Zhao and Lord Ozai, Commander Zhao I don't think was supposed to be the big villain like Ozai was, so I give Commander Zhao more slack for being kind of dumb. The Spirit, I don't have much to say about this motherfucker, bro. He was in there for one episode. I have no idea why the Spirit made the list over some other characters, like the Boulder. By the way, if the Boulder was on here, pretend this is the fucking Boulder. I would have put the Boulder like right here, or maybe even right here, like the top of great tier. But I know that's a super random segue, but back to on the Spirit. I didn't really care for the Spirit all that. I didn't care for that episode all that much. It was fine though. I didn't really hate it or anything. That's why it's in the decent tier. But yeah, there you go. Oh, by the way, what's holding back Hana for me in the dislike tier? I don't think I mentioned this. I know I'm going back. Is that how I can do this? Is how I don't want to say how tragic she was, but she had potential, and I don't think she was bad enough to be in the dislike category for me, anyways. So yeah, that's why she's not in the dislike category. So for this dude, he is Ozai's father. He pretty much did nothing apart from being a part of a few scenes. Let me do this actually. Just took a sip of my water, my bad. But he pretty much did nothing apart from a few scenes, and pretty much was only shown to show how Ozai got the power and how Ursa got banished. That's pretty much why he was there. Did nothing good or bad, just was there. Bento, I think his dude's named Bento or some shit like that. He was pretty bland. Didn't care for his character at all. Pretty much did just a one-dimensional character. Did nothing for me. But yeah, he was in the episode where Aang hid the letter or whatever from Sokka and Katara, and I didn't really care for that at all. So let me do May first. May, great character. Her issue is that I think she's outshined by Ty Lee, who I have here. Um, May is a great character, and I know I heard that she got screwed over in the comics. I don't know how that went. I didn't read her comics, like I did some other. I didn't read any comics. I just read a summary of the comics, but I don't know what happened to her in the comics. But I heard her and Zuko, that relationship was sort of fucked over, which is a shame, really. I didn't care. I don't. I was. I wasn't a big fan of the ship in the main show, but I do wish them well, and I do think her being the first one to turn on Azula instead of Ty Lee was the right move. But her dynamic with Zuko is just all right. Actually, I'll say it's good. I'll say it's good, but her dynamic with Zuko is good. But what separates Ty Lee from May, in my opinion, or is it Mai? I think it's May. It's May. What separates Ty Lee from May, in my opinion, is her dynamic with Azula. Her dynamic with Azula is really good. I really love their dynamic. Well, Azula doesn't really have a dynamic as well as she does with Ty Lee, as she does with Mai. I don't know if that makes sense, but basically what I'm trying to say is that her dynamic with May isn't as good as Ty Lee's with Azula. I don't, whatever. You should understand what I'm saying. If you don't, I'm sorry. But and then also what also separates Ty Lee from May for me, anyways, is that when Ty Lee's on screen, you fucking look. Ty Lee is such a charismatic character, and um I mean, yeah, she's just a charismatic character. I don't know what else to say. When she's on screen, you look, and yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say there about Ty Lee, but also with Ty Lee, her backstory is much more sad and somewhat more relatable than it is than Miles is. So you sort of automatically relate to Ty Lee more, anyways. And I read the latest Azula comic, and it's sort of because that sort of hints at her redemption. And Ty Lee is still a Kokichi warrior. No, I say Kokichi warrior. It's not a fucking Danganronpa character, bro. Koichi, no, what the fuck? I said it like multiple times already in the video, bro. Kyoshi Warriors. It's Kyoshi Warriors. Jesus, that's so embarrassing. I said a Danganronpa character's name. That's so fucking embarrassing. But Kyoshi Warriors. She's a part of them, and I started in the comics. And she's sort of hunting down Azula right now. And I do think that could be a good arc for her character too. So I do think she's heading in a good direction right now. So you can't say what I just did, but I did prayer hands. So let's hope this ends up good for her. I'm ready to separate Aang and Sokka, just so they're not too close together. That's fine. No, that's not fine. Jesus fuck. It doesn't. It doesn't. Oh my god. I'm taking too much time doing this random shit. Let me do Sokka first. Sokka, good character. Obviously, that's why I have him in the fucking top tier. Great comic relief. Grew. He grew so much. In what episode one, he was a sexist ass motherfucker. By the end of the show, he was a mature, in my opinion, the leader of Team Avatar, and and he just grew so much. He is. I don't even know. He's a good comic relief character, but that's not what he is. Let me set up for this one. Um, from episode one, he was a sexist, and from episode four, Suki, where's Suki? Where is Suki? Where is Suki? Suki. Suki changed that, and that's also one of my favorite episodes, the Kyoshi Warriors episode 4 of season 1. Really, really showed how Sokka could be such a great character. And then further on, after he leaves Suki for the moment, he goes to Yue, who's almost here here for me to rank. But then he goes to Yue. I will talk about more about this with Yue, but what happens there is that damn, I can't get my words out. But what happens there is pretty much they have a bad outing. Like I said, I want to get more into that with Yue, but then he moves on from Yue after she turns into the moon, and then and later on he keeps growing and growing and growing until Suki comes back, and he has gone through so much since the last time he saw Suki, which was I think 2 seasons since the last time he saw Suki, which is crazy. It's been 2 seasons since he last saw Suki from the Boiling Rock, and he's grown so much since then, and it's crazy how much he's grown. And from there, he's done, and then from there to the end of the show, he is turned into a leader of Team Avatar. He's grown so much, and like I said in my other video takes, Aang is the leader of the world. Sokka is the leader of Team Avatar. If that makes sense. He makes the plans. He makes the schedules. He does all that. He keeps. I don't want to say he keeps the group together. I think that's Katara's job. I think she's the one that keeps the group together, or Aang does. Either one of these two. I think they keep the group together. Sokka, Sokka, plus plus, even if even with all of that, the thing that I like about him the most is that he is not a bender. He is not a bender, and that's what relates him to the audience. Helps the audience relate to him. I mean, and with that, it sort of just connects the audience more with him. And I wish Sokka's Masters episode, the one that was in season 3, happened earlier. Because I think if they showed not how screwed up he was over it, but just how somewhat upset he was over, and how he sort of sees how the group is able to bend, but not him. I think that could have been better earlier. But that's a small flaw. But like outside of that one episode, he does not care. He does not care. And the show doesn't care either because they make him as capable as Toph, as Aang, as Katara, all of them. He's as capable as them. Hell, he saved Toph in the finale like at least twice. And I think Toph is the second most powerful one in the group, apart from maybe Katara. And of course Aang is the strongest. But yeah, I mean, so you know, he's. I don't know what else to say about Sokka. So next up we have Ursa. Okay, with her, I have a lot to say. Um, so she, so she is a victim of Ozai. Ozai right here. She is a victim. And in the comics, I want to get this out of the way first. I saw her in the comics, and she wants to forget her children's names. And I see most people disagreeing, not disagreeing, but people mostly agreeing that he was in the wrong. And I can see that take. I just can't agree. I can't agree. And I know that sounds scummy of me, but let me explain. Um, she was taken from her lover as a teenager, I think. I don't remember if she was a teenager or not. I didn't read the comics all that much. Either she was barely an adult or a teenager, it doesn't matter. She was taken from her lover, and then she was, let's just say, she was forced into having Zuko and Azula. And if you understand what that means, then you know how serious that is. She probably did not want those kids. It's pretty much implied that she didn't want those kids. And okay, and then so imagine you're in that situation. You're forced to have these kids with the person you hate the most, who took you away from your lover. That's rough. Okay, and then you do as best as you can. I think she did as best as she can. I know she wasn't the best mother to Azula, but she did all that she could because I don't think anyone, not even like if you put Aang in that situation. Of course, Aang's not a mother, but you know what I'm saying. If you put Aang in that situation, Azula as a child, Zuko as a child, I don't think anyone frees Azula from that situation. Nobody. She did the best she could. And of course, I do agree with the take that she did not love Azula as much as she maybe should have. But you can't blame her for that, I don't think. You can't blame her for that. It's Ozai's fault. It is his fault, not hers. And that brings me back to the point. I can't blame her for trying to forget her kids. I can't blame her for that. I mean, she didn't try to forget her kids. They were she tried to forget Ozai, and her kids came at the cost of that. And you can't blame her for that. I see everyone blaming her for that. I can't. I just can't. I can't bring myself to it. I can understand why you would blame her for that, but I can't do that. I just can't. She is a victim of the situation. Was she a bad mother? Maybe. But so is almost every mother out there. If you put any mother in that situation, they're going to be a quote unquote bad mother. You can't really expect her to do all that much in this situation. You just can't. And with and she made Zuko. Without her, I think Zuko goes out the deep end, not able to redeem himself. I think she is the sole reason why Zuko is able to redeem himself. Without her, I don't think he is able to get to Iroh. Where's Iroh? It doesn't matter. Iroh. She kept Zuko's hope alive, and without her, he is not able to get to Iroh. And from there, Iroh is not able to help him. So I do think she handled Zuko so well. And without her, Zuko is pretty much him and Azula are pretty much super evil villains. So yeah, I think she did the best she could, and I know I'm not saying why I think she's a great character. I'm not saying what I think about the character, but I'm just saying that she deserves less flack for what she did, and I understand why you could hate her for for trying to. She didn't try to forget her kids, but for forgetting her kids as a side thing to trying to forget about Ozai. You can't blame her for that. I don't think you can. I know it's rough. I know it's a rough choice, but if I was in that situation, if I was Zuko in that situation, I couldn't have blamed my mother for that. I couldn't have. Like, of course, I would want my mother to know me, but I mean, come on. It's rough. It's rough. It's just rough. I can't blame her for that. I can't blame her for that. It's a rough situation she was put in. But moving on, I do think that she is a great character. Maybe she was written badly in some points in the comics. I don't disagree with that. But in the recent comic, she seems like they're on the right back on the right track with her with Azula, and how she's the one who's going to be sort of guiding Azula to the light. And I think that she is just like a powerful character because she went through all of that, and she's still here. But I don't remember if she died. I don't think I think she's still alive, hanging out with her lover, with her former lover. I mean, and it's just rough. It is rough for everyone in the situation. Princess Yue, amazing. I cried about her the past two takes I did this. Hopefully it's not the third, but I did cry past 2 times. So, Yue. I said I was gonna talk about her. Now it's the time. By the way, like you can see, she's an amazing character. So she came in near the season finale of not episode 1, but season 1, and she immediately connects with Sokka, which is interesting because we just earlier in season 1 we saw Sokka connect with Suki, and you don't usually see shows doing that. You only see shows sort of if this was a this quote unquote normal show, they would have had Sokka just wait for Suki. But no, in the meantime, they had Yue for her, not for her, but for him. And I do think that's an interesting idea, and it worked well. They made 2 good shits for Sokka, and that's really impressive. But moving on from that, she immediately connected with Sokka, except the issue is that she has an arranged marriage, and she doesn't want to cheat on him, even though he's a fucking asshole. And from there, she's like, Sokka, I can't do this. I cannot do this, Sokka. And Sokka's like, come on, come on. I know you don't like him. Just please hang out with me. And from there, they connect, but she eventually says, I can't do this. I can't do it. And she sort of forced to back off of him. And later on, they're riding Appa, and then that's when they realize Aang is in trouble. And Commander Zhao is there fucking over the elements. I think there's 2 fishes in the pond, and one represents the moon. I forgot what the other represents. No, they're yin and yang. They're yin and yang. Yin and yang. I think I said that right. And Yue was blessed by the moon spirit as a child. The moon spirit kept her alive. And I'm tearing up. I'm tearing up again, bro. But what happens next is really rough, and it's a sad watch. It really is a sad watch. One of the most emotional moments in the series, in my opinion. And by the way, she is just a kid. She is 16. At least I think I don't remember. She's 16, I think. I think that's what they said. Um, she's a kid, and yeah, she's forced to make this big decision. Yet it comes to her so easily, and she just agrees with everyone to sacrifice herself for the cause. And even though Sokka was right there, and she was so close to her one love, and she made the choice to go into the waters, and it wasn't. And she was sort of forced in that situation. Not she wasn't forced. She made the choice, but if she lived a normal life, and she didn't have to be blessed by the moon spirit, then she would have been alive, and that's really hard to think about. She just had a rough way of going, and she was just sort of screwed over from the start, and it's just a rough thing to think about. She basically got a bad rap. If they say that Zuko was unlucky, they say Azula was unlucky. I think Yue was unlucky. She was cursed from the start. Well, it's not a curse, but and even then later on, she comes to Aang in the Moon Spirit, and she still helps him. And there's a shot with later on season 3, when Suki comes back after Sokka saved her from the boiling rock. Suki is on the left, Sokka's on the right, and they're about to kiss. And the moon is in the middle. And she has to watch her love sort of just be with someone else. And that is the roughest thing I think someone can ever go through, is watch that. And I don't know if it can never be explained if she was happy or not with that. And I assume that she would have been. I assume she would have been so happy for Sokka for that. But it's hard. It's really hard. And when you truly think about every single aspect of her character, you realize how tragic it is. When you think about tragic in Avatar, you think Zuko, you think Azula, you think Jet, you think all those characters when you think of tragic. But you don't think of Yue, and I think she should be in the conversation of tragic. She didn't get a chance at life. Jet got a chance at life. Zuko got a chance at life. And I think Azula still has a chance at life. Yue never got that chance at life, and it's sad. It's really sad. But yeah, let me move on before I make myself cry. Toph, great comic relief character. Sorry, I'm getting my mind back on track. But great comic relief character. Just like Sokka and everyone else in the main cast, she grew. Maybe not as much as everyone else, but she still did grow. She's invented metal bending. The cool thing about Toph is that she's clearly a little kid, clearly, but yet she can distribute such big damage, and she doesn't need to see to do that. She's blind, and I think the blind jokes are really really funny. I think she's the funniest character in the show, even passing Sokka, in my opinion. And yet even though she's blind, even though she's a little kid, even though she's small, despite all that, she is the second strongest in the group in my opinion. Maybe Katara beats her out, but and maybe Zuko later on beats her. It doesn't matter, but she's able to do so much damage, so much damage. And it's sort of crazy when you think about it. And that aspect alone is really really cool. And what I also like about it is that the show is not afraid to poke fun at her blindness, and it's not like in a mean spirited way either. It's just a funny joke, and I think the show does that really 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 well. And it just sort of adds to another aspect of Toph. And and if you want to go deeper with Toph, you speak about her family and how her family was so overprotective of her. And it's sad when you see her leave, but at the same time you understand. And her father was just treating her, and father and her mother was treating her like a little baby, a baby who can't do anything because she's blind. But despite that, she continued to move forward. She trained with the honey badgers, not the honey badgers. I forgot what they called. There may be moles or something, but she trained with moles and became a power. The show has stated it constantly, the most powerful earthbender in pretty much the world, from what we've seen and what we've been told. Maybe there's someone else in the comics or the Legend of Korra I don't remember or haven't been told about, but for now, though, she's the strongest earthbender. And despite being at such a young age, she's able to do that much damage. And I just think she's a really cool character. So there you go. So now we have the Freedom Fighters. So this is Longshot. This is Pipsqueak. This is a Duke, and this is Smellerbee or whatever the fuck. I'm gonna rank them all in the same spot. They are probably right here. This is no order, but if I had to put them in order, I would probably do Pipsqueak first, followed by Longshot, followed by actually no, let me put I don't know. Let me put Smellerbee second, followed by Longshot, followed by the Duke. But they're all pretty much on like the same exact level. It doesn't really matter what order they're in. Um, good side characters are Jet. They pretty much all have their own unique thing, but they're pretty much the same character at the end of the day. Apart from Smellerbee, and who had a little bit of development to her. But yeah, pretty much they all care for Jet at the end of the day. Just to summarize them, they all care for Jet at the end of the day, and they all have to watch his descent into darkness, pretty much. And it's rough to watch. Kyoshi, good character. Oh, good. I said good. Actually, no, I'll put her in great. I'll put her in great. Um, I think that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. I know she has a comic. I haven't read that yet. I don't know what happened in it. And maybe she's in the Legend of Korra too. I don't remember. But I don't. It's not that I don't remember. I haven't watched it. But in the show, people sort of joke around how she's like so kill hungry, and I don't really think that's right. She's obviously not afraid to kill, but I just think that makes her a cool character. How she's so different from the rest of the avatars, and how she's like, so how she deals with the situations. And I do think that makes her sort of compelling. In short, you can argue it's sort of edgy. I don't agree with that at all. You can argue it, but at the end of the day, I do think that Kyoshi right here is probably my favorite avatar personally. Well, apart from Aang, of course, who I will get to later on. Apart from Aang, is probably my favorite avatar. Apart from, I'll probably have Roku high. Let me do Roku here. Let me do. I don't know. I'll do this, but I will say that Kyoshi has more potential. If I read her comic, I will probably have a better idea of where to rank them, but I don't have that information right now. So right now I'll put Roku above. So with Kyoshi, like I said, just good character potential, and she showed up in Suki's comic, the one-off comic for Suki. I forgot what it's called, but she showed up there, and I did find that to be pretty impactful for Suki's character. And I found that to be a really cool decision for Kiyoshi to show up for Suki like that. And with Roku, let me talk about Roku since he's here now. I've seen people say that he is sort of boring because every time he's on screen, it's sort of a monologue expedition, just blurts out expedition, and I do agree with that. But I also like the way he does expedition. I found that to be really cool. So there you go. I just find Roku to be really cool, even though he does pretty much every time on screen just flirts out expedition and ways to move along the story. But I think that's a fine role for his character. Doesn't need to be any more than that. Okay, next we have Zuko. So with Zuko, let me put Suki over there just to make the final few more interesting for the viewer. But yeah, with Zuko, what can I say about Zuko that hasn't already been said? Great, perfect development. I don't remember any flaws with it pretty much. Maybe there were a couple, but nothing too major. And I don't know what happens to him in the comics. I don't know what happened. I heard he becomes, I don't know. I heard he's in the Legend of Korra, but I don't know what happens to him in there. But with Zuko, when you think here about Avatar, you think about Zuko or Aang. You think about one of those two, and I think it's deserved. Um, when you think about character development, you think of Zuko. If you're talking about like a show or I don't know what the fuck I'm saying. Ignore that. What I'm trying to say is Zuko has almost perfect character development, and I am jealous of how good the writers wrote Zuko, and I wish I could write something good as that, as good as Zuko's development. So I'm sure most of you have heard, even if you haven't watched the show and you're still watching, thank you. But even if you haven't heard about Zuko, I'm sure you understand. I'm sure you've been told how good his character development is, and if you don't know, then please watch Avatar. I am begging you, please watch it. It is so good. Please. But yeah, just watch it. I can't say much more about Zuko because either you know everything about Zuko and everything that's been said, or you don't know about Zuko and I don't want to spoil it for you, even though I said there were spoilers. So, go watch it. Please. Okay, now we have Jet. I think Jet is a really amazing character in my opinion. I'm gonna have Tylee above Jet though. I think. Yeah, I will. Okay, so with Jet. I know most people hate Jet, and I don't. I understand why. Actually, I understand why, but I don't agree with it. People love Zuko. People love Iroh, and people love Azula. Where's Azula? They love all three of them, but they don't love Jet, and they think that Jet's too mean or something. That's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It is fucking ridiculous. If you have another reason why you hate Jet, let me know. But if you hate Jet because he was going to kill innocent people, but you love Zuko, but you love Azula, but you love Iroh, get your head straight, please. It doesn't. And if you want to say that Zuko had redemption, then what about Azula? Azula hasn't had redemption yet. So why do you hate Jet? Do you have another reason why you hate Jet? If you hate Jet and it's for another reason, please let me know in the comments. I have not heard any other reason why you should hate Jet. But if I hear any other reasoning, then maybe I could sort of understand that perspective more. But for right now, let me just speak about Jet. I spoke about Jet a little earlier when I was talking about Hana, but okay, so Jet's story is really tragic. You hear how his family died from the Fire Nation, and from there he becomes obsessed with the Fire Nation to the point where he is willing to kill innocent people to get back at the Fire Nation. And that's obviously fucking bad, obviously. So, and the show does it really well, I think. And I really do like the episode The Jet. It's not The Jet, it's just Jet. I really do like his own episode. Um, and the show portrays him very well. Because in my opinion, I do think he has good intentions, but he just goes about them in the really wrong way. And that's the tragic part of it. And then later on, when he comes back, he meets up with Zuko of all people. And then later on he realizes, first of all, he's trying to get him, Smeller, I think his motherfucker named Smellerby or some shit like that, and Longshot are trying to get back on the right track. They are trying to get back on the right track. But Jet, when he sees Iroh use fire, it just fucks his mind up so much. It screws with his head. He remembers what happened to his family, and he can't get past that. He just cannot. And that's, once again, another tragic part of his story. He cannot get past what happened to him. And then he tells everyone that Zuko and Iroh are Fire Nation. Nobody believes him. Nobody believes Jet. And that's hard to, it's sort of hard to watch. I know some people find that cool because they hate Jet. I find it hard to watch because it's just so sad how far he's fallen. And then he gets hypnotized by the Dai Li, and then he comes back to the gang, and he has a sort of mini redemption where he helps Aang, but he dies in the process, and he can never overcome his hate for the Fire Nation, and that's so sad to me. He was a good guy, or should have been a good guy, with a good life ahead of him, but he couldn't just get past what happened to him, and that's sad. And if you hate Jet, whatever, but you cannot deny that it was he had a bad life. He had a bad life. And sure, you could argue, oh, he could have gotten over it. Bitch, has your family died? I don't think so. And if your family has died and you say that Jet should got over it, all power to you. But if your family hasn't died yet, it's hard to sort of think. And of course, my family hasn't died yet either, so I can't really say what that feels like. But just imagining it, it's so fucked up. And I don't see how I would ever be able to get over that. Especially when they're still committing more crimes. And it twisted his mind to the point where he was willing to kill innocent people. And that's what separates him from the Avatar gang. And while Jet was thinking he was going to do good, in reality he wasn't. And he didn't realize that until it was too late. And when it was too late, he was too far gone. And that's the sad part of Jet's story. June, really fun character. Let me put her here. Actually, I'll put her. Do I want to put her above Ursa? I'll put her below Ursa. I think that's fine. Actually, yeah, I'll put her above. I'll put her above. It's hard. It's hard. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. For right now, I'll just put her below. That's fine. Okay. So the first episode she was in, cool fucking. Let me just put this simply. She's a cool, badass character. That's it. I don't like Iroh in that episode where he's being weird to her. I don't like that at all. But her herself, really cool fucking character, really badass. But which is why she's in the great tier. I just think she's cool and a badass character. But what separates her from not separates her, but what makes her even cooler is how the show gave her a big moment, and she came back for the finale and had a sort of not a major role, but had a decently sized role in the finale. Not in the final episode, but one of the final episodes where she told the gang that Aang wasn't there. And that's such a big role to give a character like that. Just for her to deliver that information. And I love when the shows have minor characters deliver such big information. I don't know why, I just really love that. I don't think it's a trope, but I'll call it a trope. I literally love that trope where the minor characters get to have a big moment. I really, really like that. It's the same thing with Tyler and World Tour. If you're a Total Drama fan watching my channel right now. Same thing, where Tyler watched the kiss with Duncan and Gwen. Big moment for him. He was a minor character. Big moment for him. That is a good. If you haven't seen the show, that is a good comparison. She had a big moment despite being a minor character, and I really, really like that. Aang, I'll do quick with. This video is already long, so I'll do Aang quickly. It's the same thing with Zuko. Aang is a Aang is a good protagonist. Well, not just a good protagonist. He is a great protagonist, which is why he's in the top tier. If you don't know about Aang, like I said, I don't want to give spoilers for Aang, but his fight with, well, I'm not even spoilers. It's just that I don't want to bother the people who already know so much about Aang. Everything has been said about Aang, just like Zuko, so I don't want to go too on about it. But his ending, like I said, was a little screwed up in my opinion. I don't really like that. They fumbled that a little bit, but overall, still a really good story. He has the four main things I think a protagonist needs. He has flaws. He has growth. He's not, actually, I don't think a protagonist needs to be nice, but that's still a big quality of a protagonist. He's nice. And I forgot the fourth quality. Fucking ignore me. I forgot the fourth one, but maybe it'll come to mind later. But he has four of the four qualities I think that makes the protagonist good, even if I forgot the fourth one. And that's sort of rare nowadays. But the growth is a hard part to nail for most protagonists, because most of the protagonists stay the same and they just stay kind throughout. Aang does stay kind throughout, but at the same time he's still growing. He went from an immature kid to someone who took the leader role despite not wanting to. He never wanted to be the Avatar. That was made clear multiple times. He never wanted to be the Avatar. But he still did. He did the role and he did it well. Like I said, I don't like how they gave him a cop out at the end of not killing Lord Ozai, but he did his job, and that's the inspiring part of Aang's story. He did his job and he saved the world despite not wanting to be in that situation. Katara, on first watch, I thought she was a little annoying, if I'm being honest with you, but on the rewatch, I see the depth to her character now. I was wrong. I didn't hate Katara first watch, but I didn't really like her as much as the others. And I still don't think she's better than the others in the main group, but I do think she's on par with them now. Her growth is sort of, I don't want to say undermined by people who think she's annoying, but I think she's annoying on purpose, because she has been said multiple times to be the motherly figure of the group. She is the one that keeps everything on track. Even though Sokka does plans in the schedules, she is the one that keeps everyone on track, and that leads her into conflicts with Toph and sometimes Sokka, where they come head to head. You can't see me, but I'm pumping my fist, not pumping my, but slamming my fist together. You can't see it, but you know. And those conflicts do come into play very, very well. And I don't like how Aang and Katara sometimes sort of do Sokka dirty. I don't really like that joke. I don't like the running jokes they do with that, where they like do some cool bending shit, and Sokka can't do bending shit, so he gets all dirty and messed up. I don't really like those jokes. But that's not a detriment on her character. But she still grows. I don't like the line where she said, Sokka, you didn't like your mother all that much because you forgot her. That's a dumbass line. That should have never been added. And even if it should have been in, she should have apologized. I don't care if she's still a teenager. She still apologized for that. So, anyways, I forgot what I was going to say. But yeah, Katara, she showed growth. Despite people think she's annoying, I know everyone doesn't think she's annoying, but I know some people thought she was annoying. She showed growth in that, and even though she didn't have a big part in the finale, since the fight between Zuko and Azula was more about Zuko and Azula than her, because her story was already done, and that's okay. And she still got to manage that case with Aang. I haven't spoken about the Aang and Katara ship yet, but I do like that ship. It's not my favorite ship ever, but I do like it. And I do not ship Zuko and Katara, by the way. I do not like that ship whatsoever, but yeah. But there's not much else to say. I do think she's a character that also had growth, and I do think she's an entertaining character, which is something you need. And she's needed in the show. If you don't like Katara, I understand, but she is needed in the show. The show does not work without her. Let's be honest. Okay, now we have Iroh. Iroh, great character. Just like Zuko, what more can you say about Iroh that hasn't already been said? If you don't know the Avatar and you don't know Iroh, Iroh is pretty much the mentor of Zuko, and he is just so wise. That's what all I can say about Iroh right now is that he's so wise yet so powerful, and everything he says. Sometimes he's goofy, but everything he says has not everything he says, but sometimes he has things that has so much meaning into them. You really have to sit there and think about what he says, and him as a mentor is just such a good role for him. He's such a powerful character, in my opinion. So there you go. Such a good, powerful character. And I don't want to go too in depth on Iroh because there's so many other channels and so many other people have done that. And it's the same thing with Zuko. you know what Iroh has done, even if you haven't watched the show. I think you know who Uncle Iroh is. If you don't, I just gave you a little summary. And like I said with Zuko, if you don't know, please watch the show. Please. But next we have the face healer. I believe that they were in the Legend of Korra. I don't remember the specific scene, but I remember I was pretty creeped out. There's not much else to say about the character, apart from I was creeped out and probably give a lot of kids some nightmares. Suki, my right now my second favorite character in the list. Could change, but I do like her better than Sokka, Iroh, Toph, Aang, and Katara. And I just like her because she fits all the four things I like in a protagonist. Like I said, I lift them off. I forgot the fourth one, but she's nice. She's what the fuck? How the fuck did I already forget the other two? She's nice. She showed she showed growth. Not too much growth, but you could tell she was definitely different from the first time we saw her. She definitely matured into a different person. Not so much mature as Sokka or maybe Aang did, but you could tell there's some maturity there. And I already forgot the third one, so now I forgot two of the fucking four. I'm garbage at remembering shit, but whatever, it doesn't matter. Suki, her role in the um Kyoshi Warriors episode was really, really good. I really, really, really enjoyed that episode. It's in my top 5 episodes, like I said. Then you have her role in Appa's Last Days. Really, really good showing for her. I wish they showed her a little bit more in the final episodes, but I can't really be mad at what they did with her in the final episode either. Um, I just really like her character. I don't know what to say. She's not the best written character by any means, but I just like the way she is. And I just like how calm, cool, collected she is in situations, which sort of contrasts the nervousness of Zuko, and the nervousness of Aang, and of sometimes even Sokka, and even sometimes even Katara. Suki is never nervous, and sometimes maybe she is. And I read a comic, and but she's so smart yet calm-headed at the same time. I don't know why I said yet, but she's smart and calm-headed at the same time. Yes, she's not nervous. Maybe she is nervous, but she hides that so well then, which separates her from the other characters. I just like how, despite not being able to bend, she is so confident in herself. She knows how good she is. She knows what her role is in the story, and how her role in Aang's story, and how she's supposed to help Aang. And without her, Appa is gone. Azula gets Appa. And without Suki, Sokka is dead in the finale. Toph is dead in the finale. And hell, they don't even make the finale without Suki helping Appa out. So she's an important character in the show. You can't lie about that. So yeah, I could ramble on about Suki, but I just really enjoy. First of all, I love her design as a character. Without the face paint and with the face paint, she just looks so fucking cool. So that's already a plus right there. And well, I mean, yeah, there you go. Sozin. Sozin, I do think is a good character. I'm gonna put Sozin here, below the Freedom Fighters. I think. Now, actually, I'm gonna put him above Ozai, above Boomy. I'm gonna put it below Zhao, because that's only because Sozin only got like a couple episodes, while Zhao got like a whole season. But yeah, Sozin, great friendship with Avatar Roku, provided a great contrast between Zuko and Aang, showing what could have become of my bad between Zuko and Aang if showing. All right, let me rephrase that. Showing what could have become of Zuko and Aang if they followed down the path that he and Roku did. And Zuko had to be the one to stop that path from happening again. He had to be the one that's not like Sozin. He had to be the one to change the path. And that alone provides a good character. But even then, you consider further when you realize that fuck that you realize Sozin was his betrayal of Roku was so, I don't want to say powerful, but it was so heart wrenching at the same time. It was heart wrenching to watch, and you sort of realize why Roku told Aang what he did with the advice in the later episodes, saying that he might have to kill Roku pretty much. And he didn't say that, but that's pretty much what he said. So That's pretty much all I had to say about Sozin. So now we have Azula. By I don't want to say by far my favorite character, but she's pretty much my favorite character. And she wasn't on the first watch. I don't think she wasn't my favorite character on the first watch, but on the second watch, god damn, she was so good, bro. I don't think she's the best written character. I still think that goes to Zuko. But Azula, I don't relate to Azula more, but I feel more sad for Azula because from season two, she's introduced, and from there she's immediately built as a super strong villain. She like fucking did. She beat Zuko and Aang 2-on-1. That's crazy. Of course, I don't think Aang was 100%, but still, she beat the Avatar and Zuko 2-on-1. And from there, she survived the blast from Iroh. No, I don't think I was hurt, but she survived the blast from Toph, Sokka's boomerang, Aang, Zuko, Katara, all of them. She survived the blast from that. And they built her up to be such a big villain, but deep down, you see that she's such a troubled, she's so troubled, and she's just troubled. She's a victim of Ozai. If people say Azula was lucky, no, I think Azula was the unlucky one because she, no matter what, she would never have been able to get out of Ozai's grasp until she was an adult, I guess. When Azula, I think the only time she could have left Ozai's grasp was when Ozai got arrested. Of course, she had chances like Zuko, so that's maybe not the right thing to say. But she was so much deeper into Ozai's grasp than even her mother or Zuko ever was, because she was Ozai's favorite, and that's the worst part. She was his favorite, and well, that doesn't mean good things for Azula. She was trapped, but that is not to say she was a good person. She's a bad person. But the thing I like about Azula, she's a bad person who can be redeemed. People argue she's a good or bad person. Like I said, I think she's a bad person. But even further on than that, her friendship with Ty Lee and May, really, really good story. And how those are the only two she has. Zuko left her. Her father doesn't give a shit about her. Ty Lee and May are pretty much the only two friends she has. And her mother left, by the way. Her mother's gone. And she thinks her mother hates her, even though she doesn't. So those two are the only two she has. And when Bay turns on her, she's already heartbroken. But when Ty Lee turns on her, she's fucking going crazy. And I do think that one of the two flaws I have for her, I do think that her manic should have started earlier, and she sort of deteriorated as the episodes went on. I do think it happened a little too quickly. And my other flaw is that her design makes her look like she's fucking like 20 here, even though the show makes her actually be 14. Although later on she is 17 in the comics, but that doesn't matter. I did read her comic, which is how I know that, but her comic, I forgot what it's called. I think it's Azula in the Spirit Temple. Very good comic. It starts her redemption, but I'll get to that later. I just wanted to mention that because I do think it's a good comic. Um, um, well, I went off track about her design. God. But yeah, they have a relationship with her mother. It's just so heartbreaking. It's so heartbreaking seeing her relationship with her mother, and it's heartbreaking knowing that her mother could have not, maybe could have done a little bit more. But even if she did, it wouldn't have worked out well. Azula was just so far deep into her father's grasp. She had no chance. She had no chance of being free from that, and she was a victim. And it's just so heartbreaking. Search up if you haven't watched the Avatar, and even if you have, just search up these scenes again. Search up Azula mirror scene, and search up what's the other one? Azula breakdown scene. It's it's her voice actor. I forgot the name, but she gives such a good performance. She's such a good voice actor, and the animation is so good too. It's so amazing. And also I would rewatch the Zuko and Azula fight in general. Azula versus Zuko versus Katara. I mean, watch that fight again. It's so good. The animation still holds up to this day. Um, Azula just steals the show for me, to put it simply. I just love the depth her story has, and I do, like I said, I do wish that we um got her mental deterioration a little sooner. And I also wish that we maybe got like Zuko has an episode called Zuko Alone, and that goes so in depth with his character. And I do wish that we had the same thing for Azula. We didn't get that, but I do think that's okay. I still do wish that we had that, but it's okay that we didn't. She's such a even without that type of episode, she's still such an in-depth character. And with her ending, with the mirror scene, it's so sad. It's just so sad. And like I said, while I think Zuko is a better written character, Azula, she just takes my attention away, and it's just so heartbreaking to see what she has to go through. Because Zuko, he he has Iroh. Azula has nobody. And so when I look at that, I'm like, Jesus Christ, this girl has had no shot in life, pretty much. Of course, you could argue that. Of course, I'm not going to sit here and argue that she's innocent. She's not innocent. That's the whole point. She's not innocent. But would she have lived a normal life if she wasn't born to Fire Lord Ozai? Who knows? The if there's one thing you could take about Azula's story is that she was not born evil. She was made evil, and that is the sad part. And you could say the same thing about Zuko, but he got the chance to turn good. Azula is not there yet. Azula has, in my opinion, has to struggle more than Zuko ever did to get to that redemption, and it's going to be so hard for her. If she, hopefully, the writers eventually write her redemption, but she will have to work so hard to get that redemption because her father pulled her so much deeper than he ever did to Zuko, and hopefully, her mother can be the guiding light to Azula's redemption. Hopefully, Ty Lee and May can help her along too, and hopefully everyone can not forgive each other. I don't want Azula to be goody goody like Zuko became, but I do wish Azula could be a not Zuko. I mean, I wish Azula could be a neutral good. I want her to be in that role. I want her to see her do good, and that's why I'm so. Uh, and that's why I like this character so much. There's still a story to be told in her. And I do think she's more tragic than Zuko ever was. And that's not a knock on Zuko. I just think that Azula is just so broken, and just seeing the brokenness on screen is just so captivating to me. And the way they wrote the character, of course, it could have been better, like I said, but at the same time, it's still so Azula, in my opinion, is the most captivating character of the entire show. And I don't say that lightly, considering how good the characters in Avatar are. So there you go. So that's pretty much it. Read Azula in the Spirit Temple. Look for it online. I don't know, or even just read the summary on Wikipedia. On the Wikipedia they have. Go watch Avatar: Last Airbender if you haven't. Go do all that shit. And if you watched and you're a total drama fan, you don't know what Avatar is, and even if you do, thanks for watching. And I'm glad you got to watch the video with me, and do all this shit. And yeah, I'm glad you like the content, considering it's something different. So yeah, peace out.